Congrats, mate. What does it mean for you to get in the group again this year?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it means a lot, always does. Obviously continuing my role from the previous couple of years as well, so not much changes for me, but yeah, it's always a bit of an honour to represent a club like this in a leadership sense and support Dorse. So yeah, really excited.
In terms of vice captaincy, what does that mean in terms of how does that elevate you from the others when it comes to, is it more than just the backing up toss of the coin sort of stuff?
I'm not too sure. It's not really anything formal. We went with 4 vice captains with the captain as well this year, so I guess we all got that title, I guess. But no, it's not too much any different to what I've been doing in my previous years in the leadership group and being a vice captain last year as well. So pretty similar.
Because you get a chance to really reflect on where you're at in terms of where you were at Brisbane. You come here for a chance, and now you're best and fairest leaders position like this. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, not really just yet. I'm sort of absorbed in the process every day of just trying to get better and serve the club and get better. So yeah, I haven't really had a chance to reflect just yet. I think there's still a lot of the story to write and a lot more improvement to come. So I just focus on that at the moment and yeah, just try and live in the present and treat every day as an opportunity to get better and come in with these guys who I love and get to work with.
How's the dynamic leadership group going?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Yeah, obviously there's a few guys that have been together for a number of years now, so I feel like we've really grown as leaders. But to add guys like Alex, who's standing on my right, add him to the club and into the leadership mix has just been enormous for us this pre-season. It probably extends before pre-season, the off-season as well, as when we met Alex and got to work with him and the other boys as well, the new players. But it's just brought so much for the group already. So yeah, we're adding elements to it. But yeah, guys have grown as well over the years.
What specifically? I know we spoke to you pre-Christmas and you said that he was someone you actually studied his patterns of how to play half forward and whatnot. But what about from a leadership sense? What have you actually seen from Alex that made him an immediate inclusion?
I think just his training standards stood out. I think from those early sessions during the off-season, his optimism and positivity, just willing to learn everything about everyone and really try and connect was really remarkable. So yeah, for a guy to come in and so eager to make connections with everyone and train really hard, it's exactly what we've asked for. So really excited to play with him this year.
How would you describe your leadership style?
I think I'd be very similar in the fact that I probably lead with my training standards and my work ethic. I've tried to bring that to the club over the years I've been here, and that goes from off seasons to pre-seasons and even during the week, during the season, just trying to do everything I can, but building those connections as well. And I feel like I've built some really solid friendships over the years, but feel really connected to some of these younger boys now, and feel like we've been doing a lot of work together, and it's really built that sense of connection. So yeah, hopefully they're 2 strengths I can continue to bring.
How much of a say do the players actually get in the size of the group? We've seen it's obviously been streamlined. So how much of a say is that down to the players themselves?
Not the actual number. In terms of what comes out of the data, the players get obviously quite a heavy say, but the thing with this year is that we had a whole lot of names sort of come out of the process, quite a number. So in terms of the actual number, it wasn't really a thing that was player decided, but yeah, the positive thing was there was so many names that came out of the process, a lot of younger players as well, a lot of guys that have really stepped up in their leadership. So yeah, there's probably more names this year to, I guess, look at and work out what the best process was. So that's real positive.
Does the group have to sit down with Mitch Hinge at all? And clearly he's a player almost in his prime now, so what's the explanation behind him leading the leadership group?
I'm not sure what the sort of explanation will be for him, because he's going to continue to do what he's been doing anyway from a leadership standpoint. So yeah, despite the group going with a smaller number, I think those guys that were in it last year and guys that have been in it in previous years like Tex and Brodie Smith, these guys, they'll just continue to do what they've been doing pretty much throughout their whole career and really leading. But yeah, as I said, the process, there wasn't really a number in mind. It was just that a lot of names came out, which is really positive. But yeah, 5's just where we landed, I guess.
Did you touch on it before the sessions you did pre-season at Karen Roland? How much have you seen this group develop as a leader come along? Because it does seem to be like this is maybe a more cohesive group than we've seen in the past.
Yeah, man, I think it's been massive. And to be honest, it's probably been driven by sort of the younger guys that I mentioned whose names are coming out in this leadership process. So they're the ones that are sort of driving the standard now and getting the group together and wanting to train together and setting the tone in the gym and doing all the weights. So it's kind of easy for me now to come in and work with guys like that, because I love working with hard workers, and yeah, they've been the ones that have really driven that. So that's really positive for us. I mean, it just means we've got so many young leaders coming through, and it's a really good culture that we've set. And yeah, it's going to be about executing now on game day. But yeah, I feel like we've really set that culture of hard work and connection.
Who are some of those guys you're talking about?
Some of the younger players
That are close, whose names got mentioned in, future leader type situation.
Yeah, there's a lot. I don't want to mention a few of them and then miss out on guys that did get mentioned, if that's all right. But it's guys that you can imagine that have been here for a couple of years now, that have been really pushing the standard. And you guys probably seen it, some of the guys, that their training ethic and the way they go about their business on the training track. So yeah, there's been a whole number.
I'll ask the question another way then. How close are Max Michaelani and, say, Josh Rochelle to becoming members of the leadership group?
Yeah, well, since you mentioned those two guys, they are obviously names that that came out of the process. But yeah, I've spoken about Rash before in some of my, I guess, presses like this, and just his work ethic and how much I love working with a guy like that loves to get better and loves to improve. And then yeah, Max is probably the same. I think now we're seeing Max's name get mentioned a little bit more by the sort of broader AFL world. With what he's been bringing, but we've known for a while what he's been able to do on the field and off it as well. But yeah, his stuff on the field, his ability to play his role, he's tough, all those sorts of things that we just love to see. So yeah, they are two guys that definitely came through in that process, and they've been awesome to work with.
Last couple, Keays. Did you feel like at times last year there were actually too many voices in the group?
No, not necessarily too many voices. I think it's positive to get as many guys speaking up as possible. I think what was good with having more voices is that you get a lot of buy-in in meetings and people talking up, but it's pretty much going to be on guys to do that anyway now, and that's sort of what we've seen come through. So guys are going to have to talk up, put their ideas forward, and yeah, that's just going to be our whole club approach from now on. Yeah, so that's just something that everyone's going to have to keep doing well, and we're going to have to keep working on.
What did you take from the game against the Power in terms of how the forward line functioned? What did you take from that into this game on Thursday night?
Yeah, I thought the forward line functioned really well. I think the tone was set by the midfielders early. I think Riley O'Brien was massive in that. But the midfielders got it in early, and then yeah, our forwards were able to sort of get their tails up because they had some big contests that they won. Obviously, Tex took a mark on the goal line. Filthy took a couple of marks as well. So that really builds their confidence. So hopefully, again, we can start really well, get the ball into those guys, and then get our game going from there. But yeah, they were really good.
Cool. I'll bring Alex in. Thanks, mate.
Awesome. No worries.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Just the words, mate. All good.
Have left me for Alex.
Alex, congratulations. Was this part of the plan when you switched clubs, or was this a bit of a surprise?
No, as I said when I stood here, when the trade had just gone through, my intentions from the get-go were to understand what this club stands for, what the current leaders and personnel drive within this footy club, and for me to get right in behind that. So, yeah, to be acknowledged in a leadership role, I'm very humbled, but this club has also given me the environment to feel comfortable to be myself and really buy into what the club have already established, and looking forward to now getting to work with the games rolling around very soon.
How much of an advantage is it coming from a place where you've been to the top, you've won premiership? How much can you inject some of that knowledge into an emerging group?
Yeah, I've been very consistent with my process around this. I'm not walking in here as a premiership player, and although it may be spoken about externally, I'm coming in as Alex Neal-Bullen, an Adelaide Crow who wants to be the best teammate I can be. And if that is required for knowledge, experience of 10 years playing in the game, I'll lean on that and happily give that out, but also understanding that I'm an Adelaide Crow using this experience now, learning off the guys and players that are already at this footy club, learning what they've been through so we can forge together and build that great cohesion to play some great footy early on in the year.
How did the group find out?
How did the group find out? I just got a tap on the shoulder to come into Jacko's office, Dan Jackson, to welcome me into the leadership group, and with Dawson and the boys that have been there for a few years. It was a moment I'm very proud of, but also understanding that the footy club are built with many people within this club to get to where we want to. We need everyone to continue to lead and buy in their own way.
You said you had to learn what this club stands for. What has stood out to you and the values of this place?
Yeah, great question. How competitive they are. They don't need any encouragement to, once we cross the line for training, and this is obviously only training I've seen, but the intensity and effort they've given out on the track has been at a very high level. And then as soon as we come off it, I can just see the willingness to learn. There's a group here that are very eager to continue to improve, and that's been so evident, and that's been led by the coaches, and then the players are getting in right behind that. And for me, coming in 10 years of experience, I've found it so rewarding, walking out of a long day here, getting in the car, driving home, very proud of where this footy club is currently, and now we've got the responsibility to get out there and perform.
I know you obviously weren't here previous seasons, but from what you can see, does it feel like there's a bit of a hunger there that the results haven't gone the way for this group now, and there is something burning underneath?
Yeah, this club is driven, definitely, and that's both from an on-field point of view, but off-field with the Thebby facilities, getting the soil moved, that's a huge step in the direction where the footy club wants to, and now as players, it's our responsibility to step on that field Thursday night, our first real hit out, and to really put everything we've trained through this summer as a group, and to show our identity as a footy club.
Do you feel pressure, or is it perhaps excitement of the expectations for this year?
I'm very excited. This is an industry that we live in pressure, so there'll always be pressure when you're an AFL football team, but for us, we've got to continue to build that belief, and that's something that we've been able to do so far in the pre-season. But as soon as the competitiveness starts playing opposition, there's challenges that come, so how do we deal with that? And I feel very excited for the year ahead.
2 days out from a proper pre-season match and a shorter break as well, and the guys have gone pretty hard in that session this morning. Is that kind of indicative of how this group is now approaching training, that there might be some sore bodies, but there's no one sort of holding back?
Yeah, and that's how we've built over this summer, is something that I've come into this environment and quickly realised the competitiveness that this group train with. It doesn't matter if it's a Monday, Wednesday or Friday, you rock up to perform and improve, and that's something as we approach the season, we're still in that phase, wanting to understand how we train, some principles that we train with detail, and then that sets us up to put it on show Thursday night against a great opposition who we respect a lot, and it's going to be a great opportunity for us to travel together, continue to build that cohesion, and hopefully come away with some great learnings from the game.
When you look at this forward line, there's a few alpha dogs in there. It's Texas forward line for a long time, but now, Fold, vice captain, he's stepping up. I feel Fold emerging as well. Whose forward line is this? Do you feel like Fogg is starting to take over and take the mantle of the leader now?
I'll continue the theme of when someone comes into this footy club, having lived it within the last few months, you can be yourself, you can use your strengths to your advantage. So I wouldn't say there's one person that's steering this ship. It's someone, if you're coming in from a new club, I quickly understood that you understand what your strengths are, how can you help the team, and it's at certain periods within training or games where you need to come together and build that cohesion. So it's an Adelaide Football Club forward line, and I hope throughout the year you guys can see what our strengths are and how we overcome challenges throughout the year.
I know you said
Last couple, bro.
you come in as Alex Neal-Bullen, you're just going to be yourself. But what did you played under Max Gawn for so long, one of the standing captains of the competition. What are some of the major things that you learned from him playing under him as captain?
Yeah, first of all with Gawny, his story within itself. So he was someone who came into the industry, not Max Gawn, the superstar. He was someone that really had to fight hard for his career and understand who he is as a player and what his strengths are. So from the get-go, an 18-year-old moving over to Melbourne, you saw someone who was working really hard at their game, and then over time built confidence and belief in himself, which then was able to, I guess, pass on to the players around him. And then the influence and belief he grew into with the footy club and the players around him, he led by actions, behaviours and his attitudes, and that was with consistency. He wasn't someone that decided when the sun was out, it's going to be a high energy day. He was always rocking up, and I think you see that when you watch Max Gawn play footy. Whether it's a sunny day at the MCG or a winter's morning, he'll be there, full intensity and high energy.
Flip side, 4 months, what have you learned under Jordan Dawson in that same sort of role?
Yeah, Dawson's a phenomenal leader in the way how he influences his teammates. We know how talented he is on field, but also how he handles the group and drives this group to gain belief and continue to strive to where we want to get to. He's a young leader that's been quite phenomenal from what I've seen.
Nick's been full praise for Josh Rochelle. I think your name's sort of been mentioned in helping him out. Have you taken him under your wing at all and tried to guide him in time so far?
Yeah, that's a two-way friendship and professional relationship with me and Rochelle. It's something that, as a forward line group, again, you lean into what your strengths are, and being high half forwards with Rash, we've learned a bit off each other, but also there's a whole group there that we're learning off of Murphy, Pedler and these types. So I'm really looking forward to continue to build that connection with the Keaysy and those boys to to see how far we can take this forward group.
Great.
Last one.
I was just going to say, what would your, someone that's been around a while now, what would your advice be to some of those guys that were 1 year in the leadership group and straight out, but obviously, still striving to add leadership from the outside?
Yeah, I think this is the industry we're in. There's always going to be change with sporting teams or even businesses. You see great leaders don't have to necessarily have a title, and for us it's about the legacy that the people who have come before have left, and you see that with the Walkers and the Brodie Smiths around. They've been at this footy club for a long time, and they're still so important to this group for where we want to get to, and the influence you can have, whether you got a title next to your name or not, can be quite significant.